Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny, we're gardening here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today is another installment in our front foundation refresh project. My last installment, I asked you all for ideas on what I should do, and you came through so many really good ideas for what to do with that front foundation. So I'm going to be continuing the project today with some things that actually were on my original plan, but I am also going to be talking through some of the ideas that I have to implement some of the ideas that you gave me. So stick with me, let's see what's going on in the front foundation today. Okay, so I drew up a plan at the beginning of this project, and I have been mostly implementing that project plan as I've been going along. A couple of things have shifted in their placement, but as far as plant selection, I really haven't strayed from that too much with regard to the shrubs that I'm putting in. So as I do with all of my gardens, I try to get the shrubs in as background, as the anchor plants in a space, and that's what I plan out in advance. And then perennials I fill in and see what strikes me at the nursery, see what ideas I get from you all, see what ideas I get from around my neighborhood, anywhere I can get ideas from. And then perennials go in just according to my fancy. But I'm really focusing on the shrub structure right now. So on my original plan, I had on both sides of the front walk 3 soft touch hollies that were spread out across that arc that goes out on either side of the front walk. And I have put in the first one of the soft touches already, and now I have the others that need to go in. I was able to find 4 really healthy, nice sized 3-gallon pot soft touch hollies at a local nursery called Patuxent Nursery down in Bowie, Maryland. And I'm eager to put these 4 out there, so there will be 2 more on each side. And then the other thing I purchased recently are these 2 more orange rocket barberries. I also got these at Patuxent Nursery. I had 1 orange rocket on both sides of the front foundation on my plan, and those are in, but I decided to go ahead and add 1 more on each side of the bed, just to continue that coloration that these will bring to the garden as well. Okay, so I have the soft touches and the barberries placed where I think they're going to go. Let me show you, and you tell me what you think. Okay, so according to my original plan, I have already placed 1, 2 soft touch compact hollies right here in these triangle points. And then the plan calls for, and I'm planning to put 1 here and 1 here, and then mirroring it on this side, we'll put 1 here and 1 here. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what that does is it starts to bring your eye out around the border of the flower beds on both sides. It brings some continuity, little pops. They're not right together, so they're not a hedge, but it's little pops of continuity across there. I also have continuity in a couple of other ways as well. So on this side, I have 3 Encore azaleas that are about 5 years old each. 1, 2, 3, and they just kind of blend in right now. You might be able to see a little bit of pink of the reblooming going on here, and then there's 1 back in there. And then so this year I put in 2 new ones. So there's 1 behind these dahlias, which will be moved at the end of this season, and then there's 1 right there. So I don't have 3 over here. I only have 2, but still, that's continuity across this bed in the form of those azaleas, which will be especially noticeable in the spring when they're all really fully blooming. I might put a 3rd over here, I'm not sure. The problem I have is that these beds are only full sun from about the edge of this house over to about the edge of the house here. And so on this side and on this outside, we get into more part sun or even dappled sun only. So it's hard to put the same plant across from the sidewalk all the way to the edge, because you have to find a plant that can handle either bright hot sun or dappled shade, and I haven't figured that out. So what I'm doing right now is the soft touches to about the midpoint, and then the azaleas roughly there. I also have the same plant going on with the lemon thread cypress, and then let me show you also these liriope that are here are going to get spread out as well. There are 5 here and 5 here. These are the variegated liriope that bloom purple spikes. These are going to get spread out across the front of the bed as well, all the way from end to end, spread out like the hollies, but so that'll be another element of continuity across there. And then finally, I have the Leucothoes. There's one right there, and there's one back there. And on this side, there's one there and one there. So that is an element of continuity that already is there. So let's talk now about the barberries. On both sides, I've already put in one of the orange rocket barberries in the bed. So the first one on this side is right here, and the one on this side is right here. So that's already a good start to having that reddish, bright orange in the summer foliage mixed in. And so what I've decided to do with the two new ones is to put them right up by the front porch. So when you stand right here, right at the point of these flower beds on either side of the sidewalk, you can see all four of them. So there's one there, one there, one there, and one there. I'm also enjoying the way the red-orange of the barberry will kind of pick up on the dark red tones of this knockout rose. Its new foliage comes out a burgundy red color, and I think when you stand back here, that's a really nice color echo right there and over there. And I also like the fact that we have the orange-red, and then a chartreuse, and then a kind of a blue-green, and then the knockout rose also has kind of a blue tone to it, and then the red back there. And so I'm happy with this composition. And then from further back, let's back it up, back it up, back it up. Over time, as the barberries grow, you will be able to see the red here, and here, and here, and here, once those dahlias are moved, from this vantage point as well. Now, my plan does call for some sunshine ligustrums to be added into here. At least 2 on each side, maybe 3 on each side. And honestly, I'm going to get what I have planted into the ground and then try to assess, what does this look like once all the perennials are gone for the season? What do we have left for winter interest? And I want to see what that's going to look like before I fully commit to the sunshines, although I have a sneaking suspicion I will be adding the sunshines in. But anyway, so let me get these soft touch hollies in the ground and get the new barberries in the ground. And then we're going to have to kind of play with our mind's eye and pretend the perennials are dormant and see what shrub interest we have going on. One more quick reminder about these orange rocket barberries. They only grow to be about 4 feet tall and 2 feet wide. So putting them right near these Taylor junipers will be fine as well, because the Taylors only get to be 2 to 3 feet wide at their bottom as well. And so they'll be able to happily coexist in this space. They may touch each other at the bottom in the long run, but certainly for now and for the next couple of years, they'll be totally fine. And then as they begin to grow more closely together, I'll be able to assess and maybe prune one or the other to if they get in each other's way. We didn't do a thorough job of getting the old roots of the old shrubs out of here. So you know, you don't do it at the first time, you're going to deal with it later. So here we are. Anyway, I've got my hole dug. I think it's the right depth and width. I'm keying its placement off of the corner of the porch right here. I'm going to center the trunk on the corner of the porch and kind of on the center of this trunk as well. So that's how I'm going to place them symmetrically on both sides. Now, I'm back in the business with biotone. Yay. I need something to cut this open with. Be right back. By the way, this fall container here on the front porch is looking pretty much its maximum beauty, I think, right now. The mums are 90% open, looking pretty. And so the celosia are starting to go to seed on the bottoms here, and then you can see new flowers coming out. And the pansies are starting to fill in as well. I'm pretty happy with this container. not a lot of mulch left here from the projects we did earlier in the season, but there are some pieces of mulch and lots of dead leaves off of this holly. So I'm just going to use that as mulch right now. I like to put a little bit of a ring, a donut of soil around the root balls, because then when you water, the water tends to stay right on the root ball rather than rolling off. And then next season, when we put the mulch in this garden, we can kind of do away with those soil rings. But for this first little while they're rooting in, I like to keep the water there. All right, so that's in. The soil will settle over time as we continue to water it. And I'm just gonna keep it nice and happily moist during its first season of growth. And hopefully we'll have just a beautiful, bright pop of reddish, orangish color here next season. Item number one, it's pretty hot and humid today. It's not hot, it's like in the 80s, but it's pretty humid, so sweat protection. Number two, some of these placements of the soft touch holly, I have to move something else to put it where I want it. But I think the soft touches have to take precedence over anything else because of the symmetry and the spacing that we're going for with that repetition across the front. So let me show you. All right, so on this side, I want to put the soft touch right here. But I have the fairy rose right here. The fairy rose will get 5 feet wide, so that's way too close. So I'm gonna have to dig this up a third time and put it probably right here, which means digging up the Ascot rainbow and finding another spot for it. But this must be done because of the spacing of the soft touches. And then the same thing over here. I wanna put the soft touch right here. This azalea is right here. I think the azalea is maybe close to its full size. I'm gonna have to check on that. But I think I'm gonna put the soft touch here and just have it be close to the azalea and trim the azalea as necessary to keep it off of the soft touch. And I was worried I was gonna have to move these irises, but I don't think so. I think, well, they'll need divided sometime anyway, but I think the holly can go here without moving anything else right now. On this side, soft touch has to go where there is currently a nice, gorgeous blooming dahlia. I think, even though there are lots and lots of pollinators on it, I think I am going to have to sacrifice this dahlia so that I can get the soft touch in the ground. That's okay. This dahlia isn't one of my favorites of the ones I grew this year anyway. Normally, you don't pull up dahlias until they have gone dormant from a frost. Clearly, this is not dormant yet, but I am going to just pull it up and let it dry out and then save the tuber. And if it doesn't save well, then it's no big loss because it's not my favorite. So that's what's going to happen here. Sorry, bees. And then over here, this is the only one of the 4 that currently does have a spot that it can go into. Oh my gosh, so this was a dahlia that I grew from seed. It was Unwin's Mix seed. And I didn't grow these from tubers, but look at this clump of tubers that this plant put out. That is amazing. I'm gonna clean the dirt off of it, let it dry out just a little bit because it hadn't been dormant yet. and see if I can store this over the winter. I'm just amazed at that huge clump of tubers that came from one seed. Also, because this is a mix of seeds, all the flowers are different and I don't know which is which if I don't label them. So I'm going to actually lay this lemon yellow double anemone style dahlia flower on this tuber until I get a chance to mark the tuber with what it is. And there is another plant back in here that hasn't been flowering because it was too crowded. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out too. I might take out more just so I can get the holly in. I don't know. All right, I think in order to get this holly in the ground, I'm going to have to sacrifice these dahlias. I had hoped I wouldn't have to do that, but choices, right? We all make choices. So I'm going to try to save the tuber that goes along with this plant. This was a nice, pretty, frilly pink one, like that. So I'm going to try to save this tuber, and I'm going to see how few I can get away with taking out in order to get this holly in there. But I prefer to have the holly in the ground over having these dahlias. All of this gorgeous plant, which I will be saving, came from these little teeny tiny tubers. That's amazing. But I definitely want to try to keep this one. Okay, I have another thing that I want to ask all of you wonderful viewers. I have this weed. I call it a weed. I got it from a neighbor who was cultivating it in her garden, and she gave me some sprigs off of it. And this is a classic case of be careful what you bring home from a friend as a pass-along plant, because this thing has taken over behind that lemon thread cypress. It looks like this. And let me show you what it does in the ground. It spreads the runners underground and takes over. It will grow, if we let it, it'll grow a foot or two high. I've never let it go to flower, so I don't know if it actually flowers. That's what it looks like. Anybody know what that is? I've tried a couple different plant ID apps and I haven't come up with anything conclusive. Thought it might be feverfew, but it doesn't really strike me as that. Anyway, if you know what this plant is, and more importantly, how to eradicate it, please let me know, because it puts out runners about 6 inches underground that are almost as bad as bindweed to get out. So yeah, if you got any suggestions for me, let me know. Different without the dahlias there, and it looks different with the soft touches. I like it. 1, 2, 3. Very happy with that. Well, that brings me to the end of today's planting projects. I got 4 soft touch hollies put in, 2 orange rocket barberries put in, and I transplanted a few things to make room. I took down the dahlias. I need to still let them dry out and clean them up and save them over the winter, but that'll be a separate project. So let me get things cleaned up and show you how it looks now. Standing here in front of the house, we got 3 soft touch hollies over here and 3 soft touch hollies over here, and that starts to draw the eye down the row, and it really starts to bring structure to the garden. as we move a little bit closer, all you gotta do is come up to like a little closer. Come up to right here, and you can begin to see the 2 orange rocket barberries there, and the ones that are out in the beds over there. So we have the red spreading around as well, and the soft touch hollies spreading down the row as well, picked up and echoed by the locothwees. So it's looking pretty good, and I'm really happy that these 2 hollies and the rows in between, they really make a nice arrangement there. And the sedum behind and the barberry behind. It's going to be nice to have coneflowers here next year and some salvias. Still have room for low things in the front. So it's really coming together very nicely, I think. I still need to move these liriopes around. I still need to get some sunshine ligustrums, and I need to figure out what's happening with these hollies. I'm really leaning toward taking them out totally and replacing them with something, maybe Elysium, but I'm open to suggestion. I want evergreen foliage plants to be under the windows. So if you have thoughts for me, please let me know. Evergreen, west facing, zone 7, deer resistant. That's what I'm looking for. I just have a few more things to figure out and tuck in, and then the shrub plan will be done. And then I can just play around with perennials and annuals. By the way, I will be, of course, putting in some spring flowering bulbs out through here. Daffodils, allium, hyacinth. I might even try a tulip or 2, see if I can get them to work without the deer eating them, or the rabbits. So yeah, that's definitely on the docket as well. I just haven't really been talking about that, but I definitely have some. In fact, I have an order sitting in my foyer waiting for me to open. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. And if you have suggestions for me for replacing these hollies, let me know. And please consider subscribing. That would be wonderful. And I have a couple more videos to before I can call this project done, but we're really close. I hope to see you again in another video real soon. Have a good day, friends. Bye-bye.